The story starts with Andrew and Garrett, two brothers who steal cars for a living. Sharing a deep obsession with luxury supercars, the pair have boosted tons of high-value vehicles over the years. Right now, Andrew is furious with Garrett after Garrett's girlfriend took off with one of his cars. Even with the tension between them, they stay locked on their goal of stealing a rare vintage Bugatti that's traveling by truck along a route they know. Soon enough, Andrew spots the truck hauling the Bugatti. Garrett pulls up real close while Andrew uses a rope to swing himself over onto the truck. Even though his landing is sloppy and almost sends him falling, he manages to hold on tight. Garrett maneuvers the car just right, letting Andrew drop down onto his roof. Garrett guns it forward to cut off the truck's path. Realizing a heist is going down, Jack tells the truck driver to ram straight into Garrett's ride. Even as his car takes a heavy beating, Garrett bravely stays out front to force the truck to slow down. Jack keeps firing at Garrett until his gun runs out of ammo. Taking advantage of the moment, Garrett climbs onto the truck, cuts its brake lines, and makes his way toward Andrew. Working together, the brothers pry open the back door, slip inside, and quickly get the Bugatti's engine revving. Meanwhile, Jack tells the driver to slam on the brakes, only to find out the brake system is totally wrecked. With no other choice left, Jack jumps out of the moving truck to save his own skin. The brothers speed away in the freshly started Bugatti right as the runaway truck crashes behind them. In the next scene, they head over to a local bar to celebrate their win. While they're there, Andrew's upset girlfriend, Stephanie, slaps him for leaving her out of the Bugatti job. Andrew calms her down, promising that she can be part of their next gig. The next day, they take the Bugatti to a buyer named James to turn a profit. But James refuses to touch the car, knowing it belongs to a dangerous crime lord. Garrett argues back, insisting they held up their end of the deal and deserve to get paid. In response, James immediately nods to his guys to grab the brothers. A fight breaks out, but James's guys overpower and roughly beat down both Andrew and Garrett. Jack shows up looking for the stolen car. Terrified of Jack, James quickly claims he had no idea who owned the car and offers to hand it over right away. When Andrew and Garrett wake up, they find themselves tied to chairs high off the ground. James had turned them straight over to the mob boss. The guy, Anthony, is a prominent businessman with a shadowy past. He talks about how he came up from poverty to build a massive empire through ruthless moves. Today, he acts like a legitimate, super respectable figure in public. Furious, Anthony tells the brothers that taking his car was the absolute worst mistake they could ever make. To flex his authority, he cold-bloodedly executes James right in front of them. Afterward, Anthony leads them to a giant garage packed with some of the rarest and most iconic cars in the world. Staring at the priceless collection, Andrew and Garrett are completely blown away. Anthony tells them these cars are worth way more than any human life. Just before Anthony can pull the trigger on them, Garrett offers to steal a legendary Ferrari worth even more than the Bugatti to make things right. Andrew backs him up and spills details on their next target, Max, an insanely rich guy who owns a priceless, one-of-a-kind 1962 Ferrari. Andrew promises that they can steal it for him. Anthony acknowledges that Max is his bitter rival, but he stays skeptical, figuring stealing Max's prized car is virtually impossible. Garrett begs for a chance to prove what they can do. Anthony gives in, giving them a 7-day deadline to finish the job. He warns them that if the Ferrari isn't in his hands after 7 days, both brothers will pay with their lives. His goons then dump the brothers into the water and drive off. When they get back home, they find Stephanie pissed off after waiting for Andrew all day long. Once she hears the whole story about Anthony, she insists on joining the heist. Stephanie suggests bringing in her friend Devon, a famous pickpocket known for her speed. Garrett takes an instant liking to Devon as well. The crew recruits Leon, a skilled explosives expert who can blow up targets in seconds. Next, they bring on 4 more professional car racers. Impressed after testing their skills behind the wheel, Andrew decides to put all 4 drivers on the team. With the entire team assembled, they meet up to map out every single detail of the heist. Garrett hands out specific responsibilities, and everyone accepts their key roles in the risky upcoming mission. Later, when they get back to their apartment, Andrew and Garrett find a random guy waiting inside. Andrew instinctively grabs a baseball bat and demands to know who he is. The intruder introduces himself as Laurent, Anthony's cousin. Laurent explains that Anthony sent him over to help out. He mentions a guy named Khan, who handles black market deals for Max's family and knows where Max keeps his secret garage. The team goes to meet Khan, though he refuses to work with them at first because he doesn't trust Laurent. Stephanie steps up to win him over, assuring him that Andrew and Garrett are top-tier drivers who can pull off any car heist. After thinking it over, Khan agrees to help as long as they pass a driving test. They have to use their cars to physically intercept an airplane preparing for takeoff. Andrew thinks the move is totally crazy, but Khan insists that if they can't stop the plane, they don't stand a chance of getting near maximum. Left with no other options, Andrew and Garrett spring into action. Busting through the airport fence, they instantly draw police cars chasing right behind them. Using high-speed moves, they shake off the cops and charge straight onto the runway. Garrett matches the speed of the advancing plane and pops open his car's hood. Right before the plane lifts off, Garrett steers his vehicle straight into one of its jet engines. The crash triggers a massive explosion that wrecks the engine and stops the plane in its tracks. The brothers pass Khan's test. Khan is totally sold on their crazy talent now. He then reveals that the plane and the airfield actually belong to Max himself. He strongly advises them to go talk to Max directly, warning that Max will track them down anyway. In the next scene, they drive out to Max's fancy estate. Furious over the destruction of his plane, Max demands an explanation for their wild stunt. Garrett assures Max that working together will make them way more money than the price of a ruined plane. He pitches a partnership to steal the most iconic classic cars in the world. Max is impressed by their ballsy stunt and agrees to work with them. Laurent smoothly shifts the conversation to rare cars and suggests Max show off his private vault. Max is caught off guard that Laurent knows about his hidden collection. Knowing Laurent is Anthony's cousin, Max stays suspicious. Laurent quickly fabricates a story, claiming he hates Anthony for treating him like a servant and wants him gone. Max lets his guard down and agrees to take the team to his private garage. Inside, the team is blown away by the lineup of rare, high-value cars on display. Parked right there is the prized 1962 Ferrari that Anthony ordered them to steal. However, Andrew stays focused on the garage security measures rather than the cars. He secretly watches Max type in the security code by catching its reflection in a mirror. Once outside, Andrew writes down the passcode and hands it over to Stephanie. Shortly after, Andrew clashes with Laurent, making it clear he doesn't trust him one bit. He worries Laurent will snitch on their plans to Anthony. When they get back home, they find two Interpol agents waiting inside. The agents explain they are tracking a spree of rare car thefts across Europe, noting that the brothers seem linked to every scene. Before leaving, one officer warns that he'll be back next time with actual evidence. Andrew and Garrett talk about the rising pressure. Andrew feels uneasy, totally unaccustomed to relying on such a large crew for a job. Garrett encourages him to put faith in the team. Meanwhile, Stephanie goes to a market. Suddenly, Jack sneaks up from behind and tries to kidnap her, ordering her to stay quiet and follow along. Stephanie intentionally creates a scene by acting like she's stealing an apple. As the angry shopkeeper comes over to confront her, she uses the chaos to break away. But an accomplice shows up and helps Jack overpower and capture Stephanie. At the same time, Andrew and Garrett are driving somewhere. Anthony's guys suddenly roll up and open fire on them. After shaking off the attackers, they head back to the hideout, where Devon tells them about the kidnapping. Hearing this, Andrew flies into a rage. He storms straight into Anthony's estate and beats up Jack. Anthony pulls a gun, warning Andrew that if he ever wants to see Stephanie alive again, he has to fall in line without asking a thing. Anthony leads them down to the garage, where Stephanie is tied up. Anthony tells Andrew that to save her, he must hand over Max's Ferrari immediately and spill his whole heist plan. The next day, Andrew brings his entire team in front of Anthony and lays out the heist plan. First, they plan to steal a heavy construction bulldozer. Next, they'll steal the cars along with official police uniforms. Devon will then call Max, warning him about an incoming police raid, so he flees his estate. Once Max leaves, They'll swipe the Ferrari. As Andrew finishes explaining, several of Max's guys step forward. Moments later, Max himself lands in a helicopter. He approaches Anthony, boasting that he knows all about the heist plot and is always 10 steps ahead. Dropping this warning, Max takes off. Furious at the confrontation, Anthony orders Andrew to pull off the heist immediately the next day. He announces that he will personally retrieve the Ferrari once it is taken. Anthony also tells Laurent to watch the entire crew closely. That night, while Garrett and Laurent are talking, the two Interpol agents suddenly turn up. Suspecting a major crime is in the works, the agents warn that they're keeping constant watch on them. To throw off suspicion, Andrew stages a heated argument with Laurent to make it look like they're turning on each other. Andrew goes as far as punching Laurent to make it look convincing. The agents break up the fight. Humiliated by Andrew, Laurent later snaps and attacks Stephanie. However, Stephanie managed to pickpocket the key to her room. The next day, Anthony arrives at the designated spot to meet Andrew. Instead, the Interpol agents show up and start interrogating him. Meanwhile, Andrew and the rest of the crew get ready to launch their operation. Right at that moment, the true nature of the plan comes to light. They never had any intention of stealing Max's Ferrari. Rather, their true target is Anthony's own car collection, a scheme worked out with Maximum. The group hops on a bus and heads toward Anthony's estate. Simultaneously, Stephanie slips out of her room and creeps toward the security hub. She hacks into the central computer and sets off the emergency alarm right as the team arrives. Believing an intruder broke into the facility, the guards scatter to search the grounds. Stephanie takes advantage of the total chaos to escape unnoticed. As Andrew and the crew arrive, Stephanie unlocks the main gates. Leon immediately plants explosives on the garage door. Within seconds, the door is blown wide open by a powerful explosion. Before the security guards can regroup, the team starts driving off with Anthony's cars. When Anthony's men try to catch them, they realize Leon rigged their own vehicles with explosives too. Leon sets off the explosives, blowing up the chasing cars. Meanwhile, since Anthony can't give clear answers, the officers move to arrest him. Anthony realizes that these aren't real Interpol officers. He orders Jack to open fire, and one of the officers gets shot in the shoulder. Anthony uses the chaos to bolt. Realizing that Andrew has stolen his cars, he hits the gas in pursuit. To throw Anthony off, Andrew changes the route and splits the group up in different directions. However, Anthony and Laurent keep tailing Andrew. A wild, high-speed chase breaks out down the roads. Just as Laurent closes in to take a shot at Andrew, his vehicle smashes into a truck, killing Laurent. Andrew and his crew reach the city and race straight toward the harbor. However, Anthony cuts them off, pulling up right at the harbor entrance. Andrew and Garrett slam on their brakes. Andrew warns Anthony that the game is over, but Anthony ignores him and guns it straight toward the brothers at top speed. Suddenly, a bus broadsides Anthony's car, making it explode and crash into the water, killing him instantly. The team then loads all the recovered sports cars onto a cargo ship. Looking back, it is revealed that the two fake Interpol agents had actually been working with Andrew from the very start. While Max gives Andrew and his crew credit for outsmarting Anthony, he has no idea an even bigger shock is waiting for him. Just days later, Max gets burned for trusting Andrew's team. Using the passcode Andrew memorized earlier, Devon sneaks into Max's secret garage with a second crew and successfully swipes his entire priceless car collection. In the end, Andrew and his crew completely outsmarted both Anthony and Max, playing the rivals against each other to pull off the ultimate double heist.
Please like and subscribe.